Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Corrodor here, keeping it tanky in Raid Shadow Legends, and today we are going to talk about two of the newest additions to my account, Lady Mikage and Rakka Viletide. I got these two within 24 hours of each other, and they have been just about inseparable on the journey throughout my account. And today I just want to kind of talk about what kind of an impact that they've made. Before I do that, we'll go over the builds and the stats so that way you know what I'm going to be working with when I'm showing what they're capable of. For Lady Mikage, we have her at 67.8k HP. We've got her at 2k attack, 2.9k defense, 309 speed with 352 accuracy. Could be faster, but I'm happy with the build overall. We've got her in 4-piece supersonic, just in case we need it in arena. We've got her in speed, 2-piece pinpoint, and 1-piece stone skin. The stone skin is simply because that's my fastest Shadowkin banner. So that's Lady Mikage's build. We have her in a Tempest Sanguinis because she benefits from the extra HP and accuracy, obviously, but she also has a lot of turn meter reduction, especially on her alternate form, which we use extensively in arena, especially live arena. As far as masteries are concerned, we haven't quite finished up the tier 5s, but we went ahead and came down and we grabbed the War Master for the tier 6. That's the highest priority, especially for like clan boss situations. We have her fully booked except for the A1 on her second form. As far as her kit is concerned, it's a mythical, so it's incredibly versatile. But on the A1, she attacks one enemy with a random ally from the Shadowkin faction. The ally joining the attack will use their default skill. Perfect combo for champions like Ninja and Michinaki. Ninja being the quintessential top choice because his A1 hits like a truck and it fills his turn meter when attacking a boss. So she's a great pairing with him. The A1 also places a shield buff equal to 10% of this champion's max HP on the ally with the lowest HP for 2 turns. So almost a 7k HP shield, which is nice for mitigating some damage. On the A2, attacks all enemies, decreases the duration of all buffs and all allied debuffs by 1 turn, then increases the duration of all enemy debuffs and all allied buffs by 1 turn. On a 3-turn cooldown, the skill is fantastic. It's a pseudo cleanse, it's a potential buff strip, it's buff extension, you name it, this does it, as long as it works with buffs and debuffs. So it's a very powerful skill. And then on the A3, on a 4-turn cooldown, places increased attack and crit damage on all allies for 2 turns, then teams up with all allies to attack a single enemy. The allies joining the attack will use their default skill. Increased attack, increased crit damage, both buffs that champions, again, like Ninja, benefit from. Increased crit damage, any damage dealer benefits from that. So it's a very powerful ally attack. We love ally attacks that bring in the whole team, and we love it even more if there's some kind of utility like buffing up your damage dealers. So this is a very, very phenomenal A3. Then she's got her Metamorph A4. We'll check out the alternate form in a second. And then for the passive on the first form, at the start of this champion's turn, removes all debuffs from the ally with the highest attack. So every time she takes a turn, even if she's crowd controlled, as long as she doesn't have block passive skills on, then your nuker is going to get cleansed. It's incredibly powerful, especially in places like Arena and Hydra, although you're not going to be using the first form very much in Arena. You are going to be primarily coming over to the second form, because it's just that good for PvP. Hold up, click the link in the description right now to get a free Uugo, as well as 2 more free epic champions as you level up. Here are the steps to get yours. Step 1, log out of Plarium Play on PC and uninstall. Step 2, click the link in the description and register with a brand new email. Step 3, launch Raid and complete the tutorial. Step 4, go to your inbox and claim your first champ. This is an amazing account start to Raid, so click the link and start now. On the A1, attacks one enemy, places a sleep debuff for 1 turn. Also decreases the turn meter by 15%. She does a lot of turn meter reduction on this form. So again, Tempest Sanguinis is a no-brainer as a relic for her. On the A2, it attacks all enemies, places a stun debuff for 1 turn. On the A2, attacks all enemies, places a stun debuff for 1 turn, also decreases the turn meter of all enemies by 30%. Kind of a Armand's-esque move, right? So for players who are like me, who didn't get to get Armand's or Fabian, this skill is fantastic. The AoE crowd control and turn meter reduction cannot be underestimated. Or cannot be overestimated. Excuse me. Then on the A3, places increased accuracy on all allies for 2 turns, also removes all buffs from all enemies and places weaken on them for 2 turns. Excellent pairing with bomb champions. Great against Siphi or any buff-heavy teams. It's also a great move in Hydra in case you end up accidentally losing your block buffs or don't have block buffs. Then she can swap over in a clutch situation, remove all buffs from all enemies, and you're good to go. And this is a placement effect, so it cannot be weak hit. And then on the passive, at the start of this champion's turn, decreases the turn meter of the enemy with the highest attack by 15%, just further preventing their nuker from taking a turn. It's incredibly powerful. I love this champion. The majority of her books go into ignore resistance, making her require even less accuracy. So the 350 that I have on her, between the increased accuracy and the ignore resistance in her books, give her a lot of potency in the arena. It is not often that she gets resisted. I mean, the reviews speak for themselves. Nothing below a 4.3, and that's in Spider, but arguably she's good for Spider too, specifically Spider Hard, because of the AoE weaken, allowing you to deal that much more damage. She's got accuracy in all battles by 80, a very solid aura in case you don't have like a speed aura for all battles or arena, depending on wherever you're going. On to Rakka Viletide, who, oddly enough, has a speed in all battles aura, so I get that as a nice little bonus. We've got her built in 5-piece protection, trying to get as much protection as I can on her, but my protection gear is kind of slim pickings, so I work with what I've got. And then she's also got 2-piece pinpoint. The stats are 86.8k HP. She is very tanky, and that is very important because you need her that way. 2 almost identical attack and defense, just sitting short of 2.2k, 312 speed, and then you don't need accuracy in her kit at all. Literally the only thing we need on Rakka is survivability and speed. If you want to build her as a mischief tank or the like, resistance would be nice. I just don't have that luxury with the gear that I've got currently. She is a fantastic champion. I have her in Golden Elixir for Hydra, so that way she's far less likely to die because of the heal that this relic gives her. The gemstones are giving her extra resistance against crowd control, as well as an extra 3 resistance for each buff on her. She brings quite a few buffs, so that actually adds up. On the A1, she attacks one enemy and heals the ally with the lowest HP by 10% of this champion's max HP. So they are getting quite the heal from just her A1. Almost, arguably better than a continuous heal because it's going to be based on her HP. On the A2, she's got a cleanse, removing all debuffs from all allies, then placing increased attack and a shield buff equal to 25% of this champion's max HP on all allies for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. It's a very good skill, and that shield can be quite nice. In fact, that shield is, in my opinion, one of the best parts of her kit because it's so large, and AoE shields are not talked about enough in boss fight situations. the amount of survivability that just an AoE shield brings is impressive. Then on the A3, she revives all dead allies with 50% HP and turn meter, then places a block debuffs buff on all allies for 2 turns. Will place the block debuffs even if there are no dead allies. That is on a 4-turn cooldown. She is my first solid AoE block debuffs champion. She's an AoE reviver. She's fantastic. Her kit is almost perfect, to be quite frank. And then on the passive, at the start of each turn, fills the turn meter of all allies by 10%. That is on a 2-turn cooldown. So that turn meter actually doesn't look like much when you're actually watching it happen, but it adds up a lot over the course of a battle. I mean, think of it. Every 6 turns, she's pumping out 30% turn meter, and somebody like Grand Oak Padraig in the same number of turns is going to be putting out 40%. So she's putting out, on a passive, almost as much turn meter as a champion with a pretty good active skill. So don't underestimate the amount of turn meter that she can bring. And the passive effect, this effect is not on a cooldown. At the start of each turn, places a continuous heal buff on the ally with the lowest HP for 2 turns, and that will not be placed on this champion. So it kind of sucks that it can't be her, but it always means that it's going to be the ally that is in most critical condition, which is actually very, very good, because between that A1 and the passive, you are going to be providing a crap ton of healing. Again, she's got speed in all battles by 19%. I went with Lightning Cage just to try to help with the Head of Mischief in Hydra, but it also gives her a surprising damage boost, even with just a 1-star blessing, because when she's got all 3 stacks and she attacks with the A1, she will detonate those stacks to deal bonus damage, which is enemy max HP damage. So she's effectively getting a miniature War Master, which is the tier 6 that we went with on this champion. A very important mastery to get for Rakka is lasting gifts, because all of her buffs are incredibly valuable, so all of her buffs can benefit from having increased duration. Now, we've talked about the champions, we've talked about their kits. Let's actually look at what they are capable of, starting in arguably the biggest area of improvement that I've seen from them, which is Demon Lord Clan Boss. I was barely 1-keying before I got these champions, and now, well, you'll see we've got Rakka, Mikage, Ninja as our only source of traditional nuking. And then we've got Corvus in for poison damage, decreased attack, and damage reduction, as well as buff extension, which is quite nice. And then we have Grand Oak Padraig, primarily, to be quite honest, for increased speed and a second ally attack. So he's probably the next on the chopping block for my Clan Boss team, but I have nobody who's even close to replacing him. But yeah, we'll just quick battle right here and show you what this team is capable of. Keep in mind, before I got Rakka and Mikage, I could not 1-key. And now I am doing 183.7 million damage on Nightmare difficulty. And if you'll look, because of where Mikage will bring Ninja in on her A1, he's taking a stupid amount of extra turns through the extra turn meter on his that his A1 gives him, as well as just doing a lot of extra damage by attacking so much more. He's doing 122 million effectively by himself. Corvus doing a phenomenal nearly 40 million. Rakka doing the least at 6 million. And then Mikage doing 9.4 and Padraig doing 8.2. With Awakenings, this team could be so much better. If all of these champions were 6-star awakened, I'd almost bet money that I would be pushing almost 300 million damage on Nightmare Demon Lord. It also helped that it was Spirit Affinity, so that was like the ideal scenario for Ninja. But yeah, they are crazy. That trio, Rakka, Mikage, and Ninja, are a crazy, crazy team. Now we are going to hop on over to Hydra. and I am going to do a quick battle real quick here. I don't know what kind of team that is. We are going to go to my main team right here. So we've got Rakka, Wild King, Artak, Mikage, Ninja, and Lady Kimmy. Now, Lady Kimmy does pose a bit of a problem as far as the potential of this team, because Lady Mikage now has a 50-50 chance of bringing Ninja or Lady Kimmy. The only reason Lady Kimmy's here is because she's got increased speed, and Bells the Reckoner isn't booked yet. So once Bells is booked, I will probably pull out Lady Kimmy and just say screw it to the increased speed. So let's do a quick battle here. Now, I tend to manual my Hydra runs, so the damage will not look as good as it can. But just full auto, quick battle. What are we looking at on Brutal Hydra? It's a new rotation. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I think that's a new personal best at 66.63 million damage on Brutal Hydra. That's awesome, and that's nuts. So I'm going to keep that, even though it's a quick battle, because that's the best my Hydra team's ever done, even on manual. So yeah, I'm definitely going to keep that. Ninja doing 41 million of that by himself. Artak and Wild King being the next closest in damage, doing 8 million apiece. Although, to be quite frank, Wild King is there for healing, provoke, and the damage reduction from a strengthen buff. So he's not really there to do damage. And burns are just good in Hydra. He also brings, Artak also brings decreased attack. So there is that as well. So yeah, I'm going to keep that result. That's kind of crazy. That's awesome. Thank you, Hydra. Let's see, where else? Yeah, I used them both in my new spider team. So I will show you that real quick. It just takes a couple seconds. Although the star of the show for this team is a Kemptum, both Rakka and Mikage make it possible, because Rakka keeps everyone alive, and Mikage brings the AoE weaken, which is really important for doing maximum damage to the spider boss when his spiderlings die, or her, excuse me. So yeah, Mikage flips on over, throws up AoE weaken, Corvus throws out poisons, Mithrala throws out Hex, a Kemptum is set up to A1, and then boom, all of those spiderlings die, dropping the boss to half health in a singular turn. And then we're just going to do that process again one more time, just changing out who's doing the poisons and who's doing out that, throwing out that Hex. Mithrala going to cleanse the sleep off of a Kemptum. He's going to throw out those hexes, and then there goes everybody, thanks to a Kemptum's passive. Yeah, a Kemptum and Corvus doing the vast majority of the damage in that run, but Mikage and Rakka make it possible through the survivability that they create. So if you have these champions, feel free to run that spider team. It's a nice, quick 45-second run on hard 10. It generates a crap ton of silver, makes a whole load of difference. I think the only other place that I use both of them at the moment outside of Arena, and I don't use Rakka in Arena very much, simply because she's not got a good enough aura. We'll look at the Iron Twins. Stage 15. What the heck? Where's Mikage? I need Mikage in there. So we'll take Padraig out, we'll put Mikage in, and we'll see what happens. This may not work, but it must be the affinity. So we'll see what happens. I haven't done my Iron Twins yet today, so we'll let this be the last piece of the showcase here. See, the AoE shield's just so strong. Corvus bringing in that very important decrease attack, as well as Brimstone, which both of those things are almost invaluable in the Iron Twins. And then Geomancer is obviously the star of this dungeon, using all of his reflect damage from his passive when he has burnout. The problem, to be quite frank, is keeping the burn up. I still haven't really figured out how to keep that up more consistently. I've seen some tips in the comments on my recent Iron Twins video. If you haven't checked that out, go ahead and go do so, especially if you're struggling in that content. But yeah, this is pretty much the team. It's a bit of a slow burn, but it's a very viable strategy, because you don't have to worry about any kind of special mechanics. You literally just have to worry about surviving. The only mechanic that's annoying to work around is where the boss will cleanse himself once his HP reaches certain thresholds. But aside from that, nothing to worry about. Especially now that we have that block debuffs from Rakka. It just makes everything so much easier. I knew that block debuffs was a very strong buff, but I did not know how strong until I got a hold of Rakka. It's insane how strong that buff is. There was finally a good showcase of Geo's burn coming in very, very clutch. And there we go. The boss killed himself and got us 160 soul coins. So yeah, Rakka bringing in a ton of shielding and especially healing, and then Corvus and Geomancer working together for that damage, and then Mikage kind of just in there to provide buff extension as well as that ally attack, which is very nice for keeping up healing from Rakka's A1 as well as keeping up Corvus's A1 decrease attack. The way I can sum up Rakka and how she has influenced my account is she replaced Godseeker and Eerie in everywhere but Sand Devil, and I used Godseeker almost everywhere. So Rakka is an incredibly powerful champion. If you get her, use her. She's that good. She's my first Void Legendary from Shards, and my goodness, I couldn't be much happier. I think the only way I could have been happier is if I'd gotten like a Senna or a Cardiel. But I'm still happy because so far my first non-Void Legendary and Void Legendary, as well as my first rare in my starter champion, have all been orcs. So who knows, maybe my first mythical from Shards will be an orc as well. That would be absolutely hilarious, and that's a meme that I would have fun living with. So yeah, both of these champions are incredibly powerful. If you have them, you should be using them. Obviously, there are better options in the game if you're like some kind of a whale that has like every champion in the game. But if you're about middle of the road like me and still progressing, can't go wrong with Rakka Viletide and Lady Mikage. Guys, let me know what you think of the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something. If so, or if not, let me know in the comments. I love hearing from you guys. With that being said, stay happy, stay healthy, and stay tanky.